So yeah, so right here we have Jund Blob. The goal of this deck is actually we are playing a Consuming Blob style deck. If you're not familiar with this, it's got a base power and toughness equal to the different card types in your graveyard, with an extra 1 to its toughness. And it does such a great job of being a threat because it also creates a token that has the same power and toughness based off of the card types in your graveyard. Now, the token doesn't generate more tokens, so it doesn't spin crazily out of control, but it does spin out of control because you're potentially still creating like a 4-5 or a 5-6 every turn because we fill our own graveyard. How we fill our own graveyard is thanks to cards like Shigeki, Teachings of the Kirin, Old Rutstein, and even Fable the Mirrorbreaker. With this deck idea, we are also running the new Urborg Lugorf, which also can fill our graveyard. So we have a small splash of blue thanks to the headquarters and lounge, but most of the time you don't need to double kick this. You only need to like kick it once to get the real value out of it. And this unfortunately doesn't build up as big in this deck because we have a whole bunch of non-creature cards. That's why I'm saying we're more a blob deck than a Lugorf, but the Lugorf still is a powerful card in our deck. And we also do run Old Stickfingers, if you're not familiar with this card. It's 1 black, 1 green, power toughness equal to the number of cards in your graveyard, but as a cast trigger, it mills us specifically creature cards from the top of our deck, equal to X. So how it works is you reveal cards from the top of your deck until you hit X creatures, those go to the graveyard, all the other cards, bottom of your library. Random order. So, because we do a lot of self-milling, we do have some reanimation plans with some Diagraph Rebirths. Decided to go with the Rebirth over the new Saga, just because we can also flash this back from our graveyard. So if it ends up getting milled into our grave, we could still play it back and get some reanimation value that way. And for reanimation purposes, we have Titan of Industry, because it's just one of the best reanimatable targets you have. We do also have a small loop with Shigeki Jukai Visionary with the Urborg Repossession, but Repossession is just a one-of because it's not the focus of the deck, but it can potentially help us out in a pinch. Some spot removal options, we have some Riveteer Charms, makes our opponent sacrifice highest mana value among their creatures and planeswalkers that they control. But we can also use it to exile our opponent's graveyard, or we can exile the top 3 cards of our deck and potentially play any of those 3 until the end of our next turn. Or I'm sorry, until your next end step, you may play those cards. We also do run 1 Planeswalker for the purpose of card types for the Consuming Blood. I decided to go with Arlen the Pax Hope, because it generates a decent amount of pressure because of the tokens that it creates. But the +1 is also really helpful to us because it allows us to play during our opponent's turn. It allows us to force this into the night, so that way we can get the 5/5 attacking body off this as well. But the +1 is also really good because even at the end step, Consuming Blob tokens, when they enter the battlefield, will get the extra token. Same with the purpose of like the Teachings of Kirin and other cards. So lots of extra potential value that could be sneaky, but we'll see how well it works. Because we also do a lot of self-mill, I included 1 Soul of Windgrace into the deck because it allows us to add lands back from our graveyard to the battlefield, giving us potential ramp, but also extra value from being able to, like, if we flood, discard cards to get extra value, whether it be life gain, card draw, or giving Windgrace indestructible. So we have lots of interesting card options. We'll see how well it works. We do have a side deck that we're going to try as well. We have some Flame Blast Bolts for fighting against aggro. Graveyard Trespasser in case we come across an opponent that's also using their graveyard. It's also really good against control decks because it's hard for opponents to want to target this because of the discard requirement. Some Soul Transfers against the Super Friends decks. Unlicensed First to really help us against the Recursion deck. Drag to the bottom against token decks. Titan of Industries, in case we don't see any graveyard hate from our opponent, having some more of these is actually going to be really helpful against playing against enchantment decks. And Meat Hook Massacre again against token decks. So, we'll jump to games and see how well this works out. Alright. On the open, this is definitely not a keep. No lands. This one we can keep. We'll put Titan on the... Actually, we'll keep Titan in hand. We'll actually go down a land. Yeah, exactly. It is one of those problems, like I said, sometimes it's a strategy some people have. They're not winning a game, so they slow roll everything just to annoy the opponent, see if they can get them to scoop. Alright, we'll just land pass here. No reason to go Stick Fingers X0. Now the question is, do we go for the Fable the Mirror Breaker, or do we go for Old Rutstein? I think we get better value trying to go for Mirror Breaker. Alright, we'll discard Titan here.
Drop it.
You have to think now. So, since they show that they have Liliana in play, that means that they have the ability to go -2 back-to-back here. We could play Rutstein, potentially hit a creature, gives us the 1/1 that we can use as sacrifice fodder. That might be better. Yeah, let's go for Rutstein. Try it out. Alright, we do hit the creature. Now, they may just ignore Rutstein, because they could bring down creatures that can block, and just keep plussing the Lily. Alright, so they do Soul Transfer to exile it. There's no reason really for them to get rid of the token, because the token doesn't hit for enough. Alright. We'll just tear asunder, get rid of Lily.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
And we'll send the token, because I'd rather keep the token instead of using it as a chump block here if they blitz. So we'll end up taking up to like 4 damage here if they do the blitz. Alright, so they just go for the draw. We'll get the Fable going. And attack in. Alright, not too surprised by this Invoke Despair. Let's go ahead and go X3, put some creatures in our graveyard. Get a powerful Stick Fingers. Gonna hold the Proving Ground because we may just want to cycle this. It could be a mistake, because if we top deck into our second Titan, we would have liked that on the board. Oh, interesting. Opponent's going for the arena. Yep, so they get back Lily. They can't use it yet. Oh, jeez. As I say, we may just top deck Titan. Because I'm going to be 1 mana short, aren't I? Oh, no, actually I have just enough. Alright, so we'll play the Titan. Go for that. Destroy of artifacts. Get the 4/4 Rhino. Get rid of Bank Buster. I choose to get rid of the Bank Buster because it's the one that's going to allow the opponent to get more draw likelihood than the arena. Would they exile? Stick Fingers, really. Wait, why would you exile Stick Fingers over a Titan?
Happy to help. I'm tired of your secrets.
Alright. Rutstein the board. Let's... I only need to send that to get rid of Lily. Send this to the face.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
Alright, they only get to draw 1 card because we destroyed their artifacts. And there we go. We got them to scoop it up. Alright, so against Mono Black, Flame Blast Bolt's not bad against them. So's the Hearse, actually, for being useful. Just trying to think, like, do we actually use the Hearse? I think I'll just only use one Hearse. Go one Soul Transfer. And to trim, we'll trim the Repossession. We'll trim... I feel like Soul of Windgrace isn't going to cut it here, so we'll trim that. One Stick Fingers, and one Rebirth. Run it like that. Now, the opponent shows cards that said that they're probably trying to be a more aggressive mono black deck, but we didn't really see too much of it. The only thing that said that they wanted to be more aggressive was that they were running the draw enchantment. Alright, this one we cannot keep. Oh my gosh. One land to a one land. Last hand was technically better because we had the black-green source. I mean, this is kind of good because we got the red to the Flame Blast Bolt, but it's still not a keepable hand. Oof. Shuffler is doing me dirty. Put Visionary to the bottom. And put the Hearse on the bottom. Alright, we hit another Shigeki. Alright, opponent's gonna pilfer our hand. They'll probably let us keep Shigeki because they'll make us discard either Fable or Rutstein. Because they probably have, like, removal for Shigeki. Oh, they're just getting rid of Shigeki right away. They're saying no chance on that card. Alright, another Pilfer. Probably saying goodbye to Rutstein this time. Nope. Fable. Alright. Unfortunately, it's a tap source, but at least we hit land number 3. Alright, Shouldered is dangerous. We'll go for Rutstein. Okay, we hit Blood off that. Riveteer Charm is like the last card I wanted to mill because we actually could have used that against them. We're looking for an untapped source that we can just exile with the Terra Sunder here. You should just be attacking in. There we go. That's painful. Alright, well, we'll bring out Mirror Breaker, and we'll see what we can do. Oh, man. I have to block? Because if I don't, I go down too low. I can't do any looting with this. But I guess I have to loot. Alright. Well, we're just going to go ahead and say that we're going to end up killing ourselves this game. Oh, I don't have the ability to do that, so I can Terra Sunder. If I use Riveteer's Charm, I end up bringing myself down to 1 life. And let me get the stop, let me get the stop. I got it. The stop is good. Before we draw, we make the opponent sacrifice. It doesn't matter if they crew Bankbuster, they have to sacrifice based off mana cost. Alright. We bought ourselves another turn. We are at 1 life. If they play the werewolf that exiles a creature from a graveyard, we're just dead. They play an invoke, we're dead. Okay, so we get to discard our last couple cards. They get the 2/2 zombie. There's an Infernal Grasp. We are looking at lethal right in our face right here. Wait. Untap. Use this. Because I can't use this for colored sources. I kill myself. Yep. Oh my gosh. We just died because of the lack of land draws, unfortunately. We had to mull twice because we saw one lander, and then we couldn't get beyond... Actually, we had trouble getting to our third land. Alright. This hand's kind of eh, but I'm going to try keeping it just because we have the lands here. We'll lead with the Proving Ground since this is actually all of our important colors for our deck. Going to get the Hearse to the board right away. Probably not the best action in all honesty, because, you know, I figured the opponent was going to probably pilfer our hand away again. I'm actually just going to bring this out as the 0/1. Just to see if we can maybe force them to use removal on it instead of attacking our hand. Okay. Meathook actually is not very good against our deck. So, that's like the only time they'll ever really get... Because most of our creatures have high toughnesses. Of course, when I mill a card, it's going to be the land with Rutstein. Now, at least it's still useful because we get treasure out of it. But when we're looking to draw the lands, we don't want to mill.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick.
Alright, opponent goes for... Wait. Oh, that's right, it's crew 2. Alright. I'm gonna use up our treasure here, get rid of Lily, get rid of Meathook Massacre.
Oh, that's my cue to leave.
We're probably gonna use this charm here just to go for the XL3, just so we can find lands. That's what I was thinking, but... Alright, we're gonna exile 2 cards from our graveyard. And since I'm just gonna only exile actually 1. Because I don't want to take away from the blob here. But I want to deny the life loss from the Trespasser. Where's our mana? Oh my gosh. The opponents hit a land every turn, so I'm not sure if they're flooding or if that's good for them. Because, I mean, they do run expensive spells. Am I gonna be like... Yeah, there goes 2 of our lands again. Oh boy. Well, we deny the opponent a card draw. That's how I look at that. Alright, let's get rid of these 2. Pass it back to the opponent. Alright, opponent's going to make us lose 6. They draw 3. Evoke Despair is such a powerful card. I would love to just, like, discard the Shigeki right now and just get a land to play, but I need a 4th land in order to do that. Oh, boy. You know, Shigeki's going to the board. Why? Because if they have another one of these Invoke Despairs, I want to try to deny them a little bit of that pain that they plan on inflicting on us. Boy, this is rough.
For the sake of all Innistrad, my will must be obeyed.
I'm just gonna kill off the sword.
Follow in darkness, then.
We'll take away the invokes. How many cards deep am I?
My servant.
40 cards deep.
Busy.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I milled 3 lands. That means we've only gone through 6 lands within the top 20. That is just some bad RNG there. It's also one of those reasons why I love and hate self-mill decks, because you can, you know, fill your graveyard and push cards out of the way that you don't necessarily want to draw. But when you're looking to draw cards, that's the card that you'll probably mill. Okay, here we go. We got the lands. This actually seems like a nicely balanced hand. We'll keep this. Let's go ahead and lead with the headquarters. May as well always like try to play the lands that must come and play tapped during your turn 1 if you don't have a turn 1 play. And our deck never has a turn 1 play. Okay, this is actually an annoying card for us because it says we can't target our graveyard. Because cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities, so we can't do the reanimation plan at all with the deck with that in play. But it also does mean that the opponent can't interact with our graveyard directly. Alright, let's get the Fable to the board. Alright, we'll take the 2 here. Alright, unfortunately this is an opponent that uses board wipes, I think. So we need to be careful how wide we go, but also grafted identity, so they could steal. I say when discard up to 2 cards here. I'm thinking we just discard 1 land. We keep the rest. I don't want to discard too much to the graveyard because, after all, we can't target the graveyard for recursion right now. Okay, I was actually planning on just, you know, destroying the token just that way I can get the treasure. But I think what we do is we actually double kick a Goyf here. Alright, we only hit 1 creature, but we also now have enchantment, instant, land in the graveyard. So these blobs are now 4/5s. We're only missing sorcery, artifact, planeswalker. feel like the opponent has some kind of trick here, but let's see. I see 4 mana, so it's very possible that they could just flash in a Wandering Emperor, go for the plus. But if that's the case, then they're not holding up counterspell magic, so I can resolve a blob.
Anyone who harms my people must contend with strike fast and strike hard.
Alright, blob the board. Get ourselves some tokens. Next turn we can resolve another blob.
Remember your training.
If they attack with everything, we end up blocking tokens. We'll take the 5. Alright, we'll take the 5. No blocks. Trying to think though, for our turn, do we try to use Reflections of Kiki-Jiki to double up Blob? That way we may be able to attack in at Emperor here. I think actually we're safest going for Titan. Get rid of the wedding festivities. And we're going to go for the 5 life. Pass it back to the opponent. The festivities was giving all their creatures a power bonus that I don't feel like we were able to survive if we didn't get rid of. We also can't let the train wrecker through, or tech wrecker through. Otherwise it just removes that death touch counter, gets rid of Kiki-Jiki. But if they go Wandering Emperor plus on that, we'll have to sacrifice Kiki-Jiki for the their token pull. Or do we? No, we don't have to. We just sacrifice a token on the block. We don't get it. We don't give them the Kiki-Jiki because copying Titan's just too much value for us. Alright, AO for our opponent. I'm surprised it didn't come in. I honestly thought they would attack. Alright, so we go for Blob. They're tapped out right now. But if we use Kiki-Jiki, they just use Emperor. So we'll try to save Kiki-Jiki use for their end step if we can help it. That way, the Emperor we can attack in at with like the Titan clone and be able to trample some damage in there and prevent them from maybe using the minus. Problem is I can't really send the 4/5s in to threaten Wandering Emperor because they can just block 1, gain 4 life, and they can actually sacrifice Dawnstar here. And its death trigger is they can put 2+1/+1 counters each of their permanents, or they can look at the top 7 cards to add, let's see, what is it? Put any number of non-land permanents with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. So it allows them to put like another Wandering Emperor on the board or a lot of other threats. I've actually played against a deck list similar to this before, but it didn't have the Tech Wrecker in it. Alright, announcement for our opponent. They've already used the plus from Emperor. That's the end step functionality, so... Make a copy of Titan. Go ahead, destroy artifact or enchantments, shield counter. So, destroy announcement. Counter on Titan. Because I think our best go is send both Titans, get rid of the Emperor. Probably should actually have made another Titan copy this turn. I was a little worried about their crackback, and want to be able to potentially create a Titan during their turn to defend us. At this point, also, I could have sent a whole bunch of these 4/5s over there. Alright, we get rid of the Emperor, but with AO dying, they could potentially spin into another one.
I guess that's it then.
Let's see what they get off of it. Actually, they went for the +1/+1 counters. I'm less afraid of the +1/+1 counters. Let's bring Rutstein to the board. And pass it back. At this point, we have enough bodies that can start attacking the face. But I didn't have that crude. It actually puts down vehicles too. Oh, it also put down vehicles. Forgot about that. At their end step while they're tapped out, I don't have to worry about any interactions. So let's go ahead, destroy artifact or enchantments, and we'll gain some life. Getting rid of the last draw opportunity off Bankbuster, recovering some life, feels good. We also now have this as a huge blocker, so we don't mind trading against the Tech Wrecker. I'm worried I'm going a little too passive against this opponent, but it looks like they haven't found what they needed. Also kind of lucky that they didn't hit like a second Wandering Emperor against us. Although Dennick is actually doing something useful for them, preventing us from interacting with our graveyard here. Because I think I would have actually brought back Shigeki from our graveyard if I had the opportunity to. Alright. Copy of Titan. Destroy shield counter. And we send these bodies. That's a lot of damage. Now, they do gain back a lot of life with Dennick here. But our goal is just to start punching away at the health total. Get some of these tokens off the board. I don't attack them with Consuming Blobs because we don't want them to die. Okay, so we make sure we kill the 4, and there we go. We gotta hurt the number of tokens that they have, but they did hurt our side as well. Alright, storm the festival. There's no way that they don't hit another Wandering Emperor here, right? Okay, so they're going to do Graft Identity, which allows them to steal our card at no cost, because it just puts it to the board. It's not a cast. But if we hit another Titan, we can get our Titan back. Alright, we'll Fable here. We're just going to pass, build up our token army. Surprised that the opponent hit so few off the Storm the Festival. It looked like they may have like hit another Denic and didn't want to put it to the board. One of the things they could have done is they could have let it go to the graveyard and then been able to bring it back because it has the Disturb mechanic. They attack us with our Titan, we can give it a double block, just to soak all the damage. Alright. Another Tech Wrecker. Passing it to us. I'm gonna make a copy of the Blob. This way we'll get 3 tokens. Ah, Unleash Inferno. That's actually really good here. So we'll give up a Rutstein. So if we Unleash the Inferno, kill Tech Wrecker, we get back our Titan. See, how much damage can we actually get through here? Because we can make another Titan token. But they have the mana open that if they do have Wandering Imp, they could do that. I don't want to run Titan into an Imp. We attack with all 6 tokens. They can double block, kill 1, block, kill 1, block, kill 1. And all we get is 1 token. Then they also gain back 6 out of the potential damage we do. Try to see, like, if they have Imp, I'm trying to think, like, how much can we push through and actually can we, like, end it here? Yeah, I can't attack with Titan because it just shifted sides. So I think what we do is we wait until next turn. Probably should have brought down the old stick fingers for just, you know, X1, mill a card, turn this into a 4/4. Alright, Putnam develops another blocker. Oh, they milled a Emperor. That's good for us. What were the other cards they milled? 2 lands? There's still 2 more Emperors. I'm Because I assume the opponent's running 4 Oath. They're attacking with that? Give it all the blocks. I don't block it with the Titan, just because if they do have a destroy all creature spell they're planning on playing here, it allows us to play around that. Why would they downgrade their Denic? I think you would have been better off just playing Denic, let the one go to the graveyard, and disturb that one back. Because you now just lost yourself a huge life-linking body. And yeah, there they go. They scoop it off. Alright. I think we actually want more Titans against this opponent. So we'll bring those in. Meat Hook's probably not bad against them either, so we'll bring in 2 Meat Hooks. Unleash Inferno will stay in. Since we're going to use Meat Hooks, I don't think I need the drag. Riveteer's Charm, still useful because it gets rid of Emperor. Trying to think, like, what do we end up trimming at this point? We'll actually trim a Lugorf. Trim 1 Rebirth, and... okay, let's leave the drag in. Cut a Rutstein. Yeah, we'll actually cut a Rivet Charm. Yeah, then we'll do it like that. Alright, seems pretty keepable. So, lead with the Lounge. Alright, we see an Emperor disappear already. Meat Hook right now is actually a good draw for us, because we'll possibly use it on turn 4. Oh, hey Rudy! Welcome, all Raiders. Hope you're having a nice day. Yeah, no, we're just playing some standard here, and we're doing a little Jund Blob here. How's your stream? Do you enjoy it? Everything go well? Filthy Consumer. What do you mean, Filthy Consumer? Skyrim modded to Oblivion. Oh, okay, okay.
Phyrexia's story affects the mind. Our will cannot be denied.
A Tameo. Interesting. We'll go ahead and offer the block. Land, Meat Hook, X2. Now, the opponent can use Tameo here. They can get back Wandering Emperor, but they trade off their Tameo for it. Yeah, Consuming Blob is a lot of fun, and the value you can get from milling yourself is great. Dawn Sky for our opponent. Alright, keeping us tapped down.
Perfect form.
Kinda want to Unleash Inferno, get rid of Tameo before they start using it to recur cards. I mean, we have the opportunity to bring out Titan, but I just don't think that's the play here. Because they have another Emperor in hand. They could just use Tameo, tap it down, and be able to use
Data for now.
the other in combination. While I could play Lugorf Kick It, it's better for us probably to save the treasures for right now. Terror Sender in the graveyard doesn't add anything extra for the blob. Let's play Teachings, see what we mill. Okay. And we will also one-kick the Lugorf. I choose only one kick, that way we can pay for the tax of 2 mana that they may have. Alright, so we have plenty of card types in our graveyard. Blob's only a 4/5 because we didn't hit the Planeswalker. We don't have any artifacts in the deck either. Dawn Sky hits us for a bit. We'll put a counter on the Lugorf. Go to combat. We will send it. See if the opponent's willing to trade with the Dawn Sky. I didn't think they would, but had to try for it. Alright, attempts Titan. Unfortunately, probably see a counterspell happen here, but we have to try to put something to the board, otherwise we're dead to Dawn Sky too quickly. Alright, overcharge. And they actually do decide to sacrifice Dawn Sky, which... I mean, I get why they do it, but at the same time, it's a more risky play for our opponent. They hit a Grafty Identity. Do they also have only 3 creatures in their graveyard? Wait. Oh no. It's a 3/4 because they have... Math's not working on my head here. This would be equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. It should only be a 2/3 for our opponent, right? Why is it a 3/4? Because they only have 1 creature here. It's confusing the crap out of me. Okay, so... we can rebirth, bring back Titan, but... the thing is, Elsewhere Angel, those kind of cards are supposed to be equal to the controller of the creature, not the owner. So, if they control it, it should have shrunk. That's why I was confused by it. Oh! Grafty Identity gives the creature +1/+1. That's what I was forgetting. I knew there was something I was overlooking there. That's why I'm like, my math isn't working here. Why is it still this powerful? It's because it had a +1/+1 counter on it. The enchantment's giving it +1/+1, and the base stats. I knew there was something I was overlooking. Alright. Attack with these. Exile a non-creature card. Put a +1/+1 counter on one of our cards. We'll get rid of the Wandering Emperor. Counter here. Alright. We lose a creature. This gets a little bit cheaper. Attempt to bring Titan back. Another Overcharge Amalgam, okay. Unfortunately, that does finishes off here. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't. One of their creatures dies. So we gain a life. We have one more turn. Opponent's at 7 life, so they can't attack us with both unless they have a Wandering Emperor to give a +1/+1 counter or something to give it an extra plus. Yeah, 1 HP and a Dream, indeed. Yeah, if we didn't do something that forced them to counterspell there, we would be dead because they could just flash it in and just has an extra 3/3 flyer. So, the Rebirth actually saved us even with it being counterspelled. Alright, they're holding 1 back for blocking. We're going to use a Blood. We're going to discard Stick Fingers. Oh no, they identity steal our blob. We need to find something fast. Because now they're going to get the blobs. Let's see, they have 4 or 5s that they're making out of it. Let's see, if we were to attack them with our 6/7 and 5/6, we can hold back the 1/1 as a blocker. We can also bring out Goyf and Fable for cards for the turn. They'd be forced to block at least 1. And they could give it a double block to kill it. I'm just trying to think if I cycle away the Proving Ground. Oh no, I have an idea. If we attack all... No, not attack all. Attack all is bad, but attack with these 2. Because if 2 creatures die, this gets 2 cheaper, so we can actually use the Rebirth again. And by using Rebirth, we're going to force them to have another counterspell. They can't use an Overcharge Amalgam. Oh, they only block... They block like that. Interesting. I thought they would kill off one of our tokens. I guess they want to keep the Amalgam anyways, and they don't want to give up the Blob. But we can still go land Rebirth. Go for Titan. With the Titan hitting the board, we go for Destroy Enchantment, Gain Life, if it resolves. I just realized I pulled the card out of my graveyard, which caused the token to shrink. which actually did kill the token. And we're going to gain the 5 life, get ourselves out of the danger zone here. It does kill our blob, because like I said, it shrunk it. Because I played a sorcery out of my graveyard. But I had to have something die in order for us to be able to play that back. Alright, Runic Shot for the opponent. They lose a life thanks to Meat Hook. Going down to the wire on our opponent's timer here. Question is, do they have an answer for Titan? They actually tapped one of their only 2 white sources, so I don't have to worry about an Emperor. And yeah, there we go, we get there. Okay, off the bat, unfortunately this is going to be a quick mull. I think this is our biggest problem with the deck, is it likes to just go, here's a hand with no lands. And we're not, you know, cheaping out on the lands in our deck. Alright. So, let's see. Tear Asunder, not the best draw, but it's still not a bad card. I was just worried about getting enough lands. Alright, everyone's favorite underdog. Go for the Rutstein. I'm gonna say no blocks, I'm gonna take it. I feel like they might have, like, some kind of small damage spell.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
That's not good. I mean, it's good, but it's not good. Let's go ahead and kick the Goyf. I was really hoping for an untapped source that way I can just use Tear Asunder, deal with the Liliana. Alright. Yeah, they hit us with a Voltage Surge easily enough, so they did have the card I was thinking that they might have, just a simple 1 mana 2 damage spell. So they could have just bumped off Rutstein with that. They liked the cards in their hand, so they didn't use Liliana. We don't have anything worth rebirthing. So let's try to find something worth rebirthing. Stick Fingers X-Free. There we go, we got a Titan in the graveyard. Alright, opponent discards Meat Hook and a land. So they don't have anything in their graveyard to recur. Alright, Tear Asunder. Making us a little sad here, but... Alright, we discarded a Tear Asunder ourselves.
Things we'd rather forget.
Alright, Rebirth, Titan. We go destroy artifact, create 4/4. I mean, artifact or enchantment. Just to get rid of the Mirror Breaker. 4/4 is being generated so that way they can't just minus and make us sacrifice the Titan. They just hard cast their Titan. So, let's see.
Drop it.
Do I give up the Terra Sunder or do I give it Shigeki? I think we give up Shigeki. It's a little too greedy holding onto the Shigeki. Alright, so Blob or Terra Sunder? If we go for the Blob, we get ourselves a 6-7. Yeah, I think we go for the Blob. Alright, Blood Tithe for our opponent. Unfortunately, it means that they probably just plus Lily here, get rid of our Terra Sunder. They may choose to go for the minus and then just go for an attack to keep pressure on us, but I don't think they'll do that. Because we can just block with the 6-7 against Titan, keep our Titan still. Yeah, so I figured they'd do the discard.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
We can't use that. But I don't really want to blood token it away to a spell I can't play. If we send in attacks at Lily, try to get rid of it. We can send the 6-7, we can send the Titan. We'll get a 6-7 back. They'll probably block here to get rid of our Titan. But they know that we have Diregraph Rebirth in the graveyard, so maybe they just let it go. I'm trying to think, how much can they swing back for? Because we'll have only 3 potential blockers. I think that's a safe attack. Because if they choose not to block at all, we still have a fair bit back here. Alright, opponent does go for the 2 blocks here, which is enough to recast Rebirth. It does shrink Blob. But let's see, let's go for the Rhino, and we will go for... We'll go for the 5 life.
You won't be outsmarting me.
Alright, Blitzing Underdog just lets them get a card draw. We block here means that they can't, like, sacrifice Harvester and finish something off. Drag is not what we were looking to draw here. If we actually had this in our, like, a sorcery in our graveyard, and these being 7 toughnesses, I would drag just because, you know, we get rid of a lot of their board. But at the moment, it's not worth it. Let's try to get rid of Lily. They have to sacrifice quite a bit here to keep it. And they're willing to make that trade. Interesting. I don't know if that's the right call, but... One, two, three, four, 5. So if the opponent actually has Meat Hook Massacre, they can only do X5, which isn't enough to kill our blobs. Interesting. They play the land. I guess it's because they plan on plussing Lily. Yep, there it goes.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
They probably are wondering, wait, why did the creatures grow? It's because it's we're missing the sorcery in the graveyard. All right, Goyf is pretty big. All right, Lily dies.
Fine. I'll take my zombies and leave.
And we'll double kick Goyf. I don't feel like we need to double kick Goyf, but we may as well. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I was just double checking. Like, they still can't meet Hookahs out. At this point, we just send the whole team. If they block kill Blob, it's fine. Because this is a lethal amount of damage. Because we're getting 26 through. Yeah, I always think it's funny once when people assign blockers, do the math, realize that they lose. Instead of just hitting the confirm button, let damage go through, they take extra time to go find that concede button. It's always a little silly. Alright, so we know the opponent uses their graveyard, so we bring in the anti-graveyard cards. I think we'll also bring in the Flame Blast Bolts here. We'll go down a Kirin, go down a Stick Fingers. They will actually go down Wind Grace because I just feel like Wind Grace isn't going to cut it against this opponent. Let's see. I guess we'll go down one Terra Sunder, even though it's actually a really good card. Go down a Shigeki. Go down the Repossession. Because I figure the opponent's going to bring in a lot of anti-graveyard cards themselves. And we'll go down one Lugorf. Run it like that. Alright. I'm definitely going to keep this. We got the important unlicensed first here. And we got a backup. Let's go for the Hearse first. This way, if the opponent decides they're going to go a turn 3 Lily, we can potentially attack in against it right away. Oh, they go for a Squee. Interesting. I didn't think about the fact that they'd be running Squee, but Squee does make sense in their deck. It's a nice aggressive creature. We'll go for Rutstein. Knowing that they have cards like Squee means that I probably need to also bring in Meat Hook Massacre if we go to a game 3. Okay, it's our turn. We mill. We'll go for a Mirror Breaker. Play the Proving Grounds and pass it back. We actually got ourselves a fair bit of ramp thanks to Rutstein. Alright, so they're going to make a sacrifice Rutstein with their charm. I'm going to use the hearse and eat all the cards out of their graveyard, just that way we can power up the hearse and also, you know, keep their graveyard empty for once Squee eventually does bite it. Alright, opponent just passes it. I honestly thought they would possibly attack in with Squee just to keep pressure going on us. But seems our opponent's a little more cautious than what I was originally thinking. Let's go ahead and discard. Discard. Actually, I'll keep the Lugorf. Nah, we'll get rid of Lugorf. We'll discard both. We have the Shigeki in hand anyways. Let's attack with the token. See what we might get out of their hand. I'm worried that they have another Riveteer's Charm. So instead of playing for the Blob, I think I'm going to go for Rutstein. Alright, Blob the graveyard. We'll pass it back. The reason why Riveteer Charm is actually really dangerous to us. Alright, so they're going to Boseiju, destroy our vehicle. Get ourselves blue, green, white. The reason why I get that is that way we fulfill domain requirements for the purpose of if we do get drag. Because drag to the bomb can be as large as a -6/-6. But as I was trying to say earlier, Riveteer Charm is actually really dangerous for us. Because the option here says that you can exile a player's graveyard. Means that the Consuming Blob itself will just not have any power to it. And it could easily then sweep it off with a meat hook of their own. Alright, a Tushi for our opponent. Interesting. Alright. We hit a lot of lands on those mills, and we've also drawn a fair bit of lands, so... Alright, we go for the Consuming Blob. I'm just going to pass it back. Try to think if we do bring something back from our graveyard, what cards do we grab? Probably grab a Unlicensed Hearse. Make sure to leave one of them in the graveyard. And we maybe just grab the second Blob. And we can actually do that right now. This also puts an enchantment in our graveyard, Growing Blobs. Alright, we hit a Titan. We have enough mana to also Reflections off Titan. Let's go for Titan right now. We'll go for the gaining 5 life, and we're going to put a shield counter on the Consuming Blob. Create a copy of the Consuming Blob. And we'll send this much of the team. By the way, if you're wondering why I created a copy of the Consuming Blob and not Titan, is because at the end step we'll get a copy of the Ooze token from this blob. Oh, elsewhere, you said that you just played a game where it took 44 cards to find a Hull Breaker. Yeah, well, if you're going the Hull Breaker route to win, that's definitely something that happens. But you don't want to run more than, like, 2 Hull Breakers in the deck. 3's, you're being very greedy. Because if they get into your hand early game, you're in for a bad time. Alright, so they surge off, kill the Kiki-Jiki. I didn't go for putting the shield counter on Kiki-Jiki because they had mana untapped. I was thinking that they could just respond and kill it. And since we're at our end step, that seems to be the case. Alright, they put it doesn't make a sacrifice Titan. They decide to dig from the top of their deck. Unfortunately for them, they hit a Squee and a Titan. And their land's a tap source. So yeah, that's a good game right there. Alright, we seem to be the better Jund deck. But yeah, so for Jund Blob, the Blob actually does do amazing work. You just gotta put a couple cards in your graveyard, and it just takes off really well. Now, you only really need to like make the Consuming Blob a real threat is have 4 or more different types in your is to have 4 different types in your graveyard. At 3, it's a decent threat, but at 4 is where it's like that tipping point where it really pushes pressure. And in the main board, I think maybe we might want to add some kind of artifact. Like, when you're using the Unlicensed First in the side deck, but the reason why I say put some kind of artifact in the main board is to make it so that we have more opportunities to get those different card types for the Blob. But at the same time, don't want to diversify the main board because we still want to get some consistency because we are using the Urborg Lugorf, which is, you know, caring about creatures in graveyard. And there's not really that many good artifact creatures that synergize with our deck, so we're not trying to use any of those. But I think that the deck works really well. I didn't really get a chance to show off Soul of Windgrace. I felt like a number of times I wanted to side him out because we were dealing with non-targeted removal decks, and they also eat our graveyards. So I didn't feel like it would work well because we went against Mono Black and Jund, and I decided we're going to sign them out against those. And when I was testing with Soul of Windgrace, it actually did have some moments where it did well, but it's still a case of it is a legendary card, and I only have a 1 of, so I haven't tried it, gotten a fair shake on the card. But I still like the Diagraph Rebirth in the deck slightly more than going for the Saga. One, because it helps make sure we have the diverse spellcasting for the Blob here, because we already run a fair number of Saga cards, or enchantments in general. But the other thing is if we accidentally mill it, we can replay it from the graveyard, and we got to see that happen a couple times where we got to reanimate Titan or something from our graveyard with Rebirth, and it's still a very viable card to play for. But I hope you enjoyed the deck. It was a lot of fun, in my opinion, to play this. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to join me while I stream, you can find me on Twitch, the link below. I hope to see you again in the next video, and have a nice one.